Okay, to get started, welcome to the Louisville and Superior Ballot Measure Overview presented by the League of Women Voters, Boulder County. I am Stacy Johnson, volunteer member and voter service director for the League of Women Voters, Boulder County. For today's presentation, the panel consists of Judy Mars-Dixon, our ballot issues coordinator for the Boulder League, and Judy's fellow team members, Peggy Leach and Deborah Hayes. Helping us with Spanish language interpretation is Rosabelle Rice and Kelly Music, and assisting us with the Spanish language recording is fellow League member Molly Saunders. For those in the audience not familiar with the League of Women Voters, we are a nonpartisan grassroots organization working to protect and expand voting rights, and we also work to ensure everyone is represented in our democracy. To remain nonpartisan, the League never supports or opposes political candidates or parties. Although we are nonpartisan, we work to empower voters and defend democracy through advocacy, education, and through litigation at the local, state, and national levels. This presentation will cover, during this time slot of 4 to 4:30, we'll cover the ballot measures that are before voters in Superior and Louisville during the 2023 election. Today's forum does not include any outside speakers who are in favor or who are against any of the ballot measures. The presenters will take a few minutes to explain each ballot measure, and then they will address questions on that topic for any questions that come through the Q&A chat process. To get us started, I now turn it over to Peggy Leach, who will cover ballot measure 2C for Louisville voters.
Thank you, Stacy. The ballot issue 2C is an extension and an addition for parks and open space tax. So it was referred to voters by the Louisville City Council. The existing sales tax of 0.375% would be extended for an additional 10 years. It expires at the end of this year, and it will be extended to December 31st, 2033. The measure also proposes an additional 0.125% sales tax for that same 10 years, beginning January 1st. The new funds, the 0.125, are to be used solely for open space to acquire, restore, preserve, protect, and maintain open space, and to mitigate wildfire risks within open space areas. The funds from the tax extension, the 0.375%, are to be divided equally between parks funds and open space funds. So the open space funds would be the same as what I just described, and the parks funds are to be used to acquire, improve, and maintain parks. And the total proposed tax between the existing tax and the new tax is 0.5%, which is 50 cents on a $100 purchase. So voters first passed the 0.375 tax in 1993, and they approved extensions in 2002 and in 2012. And as I mentioned, it is set to expire at the end of this year. In early 2023, the City Council appointed a task force to examine whether voters should be asked to approve an extension and whether there should be any changes. The task force met 4 times. They commissioned a survey, and they recommended this ballot issue. The current 0.375% tax generates approximately $2.85 million per year, and it supports staffing, maintenance, land acquisition reserves, volunteer programs, and more. These expenditures are restricted to open space, trails, wildlife habitats, wetlands, and parks. So those in favor say the tax revenue is the primary funding source for maintenance and enhancement of existing properties and trails. Discontinuation of the tax at the end of this year could drastically reduce service levels and adversely affect the city's budget. They also say that parks and open spaces contribute to residents' quality of life by offering areas for outdoor activities, relaxation, and community gatherings. Thousands of residents use open space, parks, and trails every day to enjoy nature, go on walks, exercise, and commute. Allocating more resources for fire mitigation and prevention is crucial to protecting Louisville and its public lands from potential wildfire risks. Having available funds allows the purchase of new properties for open space and parks when opportunities arise. And this tax is essential for the restoration and protection of wildlife habitats and grasslands, partnering with local farmers, managing weeds, and improving native vegetation. Those opposed say increasing taxes could impose an extra financial burden on individuals and families. They also say Louisville already manages sufficient open space and parks, and the acquisition of additional land is unnecessary. The initial tax was approved to last for 10 years, and it should come to an end as originally planned. And they say current maintenance and service levels of parks and open space are not needed, and the tax used to fund these services should be eliminated. So are there questions on this Louisville issue on parks and open space funding?
I don't see any questions at this point.
Okay, I'll pass it on to Deborah then.
Hey, thank you, Peggy. This is the issue in Superior. Question 301. And the ballot question asks, it's very short, shall the town of Superior form a home rule charter commission for the purpose of drafting a home rule charter? Question 301 was referred to voters by the town board of trustees. Deciding whether to form a home rule charter commission is the first step in considering home rule. Along with voting yes or no on forming the commission, voters in Superior are electing a 9-member commission in case 301 passes. In Boulder County, the town of Erie is at the second step. They've got a charter to consider, but Superior is at step 1. In June, the Superior Town Board approved putting this question on the ballot, and there was a self-nomination period for charter commission candidates from July 21 to August 21. And candidates for the commission are also on the Superior ballot on November 7. So what's at stake with home rule? Home rule is a form of government based on a locally written charter rather than on state statutes. While the Colorado legislature can override a home rule municipality on something that's a statewide concern, the home rule municipality is autonomous regarding local matters. I think the Spanish term autonomous government is really clearer than home rule. But anyway, no municipality, home rule, or statutory can pass a law that conflicts with state or federal constitutions. Adopting home rule could affect finance, taxation, land use, elections, and administration in Superior. This is all very carefully spelled out in state law, Colorado law. In the Colorado law, if ballot question 301 passes and you have a charter commission, then those commissioners must create a charter and submit it to the town board within 80 days, 180 days, sorry, about 6 months after the election. After the home rule charter is created, Superior must hold another election to consider whether to adopt this charter. And if the voters adopt the charter, then that's it. It's a home rule municipality. It can be either a home rule town or a home rule city. That's up to the commission and the voters. Now, if the voters reject this proposed charter, we're talking, future elections, the commission can start, try again. And if they reject that, it can try a third time. But if that doesn't pass, then that's the end of the process. So people in favor of 301 say a home rule charter will empower Superior's governing body to act and legislate on local matters. Residents of Superior know best how to manage Superior issues. And home rule seems to be favored in Colorado. We have 62 home rule cities and 38 home rule towns. And the people living in these cities and towns amount to 93% of Colorado's total municipal residents. Those opposed to 301 say expanding municipal authority over certain matters can be a disadvantage. If the charter is restrictive, then maybe completing town business would be more difficult. The drafting and adoption of a home rule charter will require town funds to support the project. Some potential changes like local tax collection, election changes, and so on, may require adding staff to the town government with an increased budget for salary, benefits, municipal space expansion, and so on. So that's 301. I don't see any questions.
I'll give a pause or two just in case anyone has any questions. If you're a slow typer like me, it might take a while to pose your question.
Me too, yeah.
Okay, I'm just gonna begin the wrap up. I just want to remind folks if you do have some follow-up questions, please seek us out at LWVBC.org and also look for the 2023 elections page for a good overview of all the ballot measures and any additional information that gets added on there. So as a wrap up, this presentation covered Louisville and Superior ballot measures. I'd like to thank Judy, Peggy, and Deborah for all their hard work and supporting voters and their preparations for all of today's forums. A huge thank you also goes out to our 2023 election sponsors, Elevations Credit Union, Christina's Luxuries, Gigi and Company Pet Products, Wolfgang Boulder, Regs Consignments, and individual sponsors C. James Lovett, Simmons Family, Laura Holloway, and Maria Dolores Young. Please note this presentation will be available on the League of Women Voters Boulder County website and the League's YouTube channel later this week and through Election Day. The presentation will also be available on the League's online voters guide, vote411.org, where voters can find information on candidates, candidate responses to questions curated by the League, and information on other ballot measures. We also encourage the public to visit LWVBC.org for more information on all other upcoming forum events, including candidate forums. And finally, I'd like to thank you, the viewer. of this presentation. As a league member, I'd like to stress the importance that elections are our chance to stand up for what matters, to what's most important to us, and to have an impact on the issues that affect us, especially issues impacting our communities, our families, our loved ones, and our future. The League of Women Voters believes in empowering you, the voter, with straightforward information so your voice will be heard. Thank you for attending this presentation and being an informed voter.